I knew I shouldn't stare, but the way she smiled at me made my heart forget every rule I ever set for myself. She was older, clearly, confidently, beautifully older, and I told myself from day one that someone like her could never look at someone like me. That was the truth I believed. That was the safe distance I kept, but all of that shattered the night she leaned close, her breath barely touching my ear, and whispered, "You make me forget my age." And that's when everything truly began. The first time I met Elena was at a small community library where I volunteered on weekends. She walked in during one of the quiet afternoons, sunlight following her like it was loyal to her presence. She carried an aura of graceful, composed, almost intimidating in the softest way. She wasn't old. Not at all. Just older. Mature in the sense that she looked like someone who had lived a life full of stories. While I was still writing my first few chapters, she approached the counter with a stack of novels, each one about rebuilding life after loss. "You like emotional stories?" I asked, immediately regretting how childish my voice sounded. She laughed lightly. "I like stories that make me feel something real." Her smile made my chest tighten. I tried to maintain a professional posture, but inside, I was a storm of confusion and admiration. She thanked me and walked away, leaving behind a trace of jasmine perfume and a young man who suddenly felt too young to matter. Over the next few weeks, she kept coming back. Not always for books, sometimes just to sit near the window with her coffee, reading, thinking, smiling at strangers, and unknowingly stealing my focus every time she lifted her eyes. We talked more. A little each time. She told me she was rebuilding her life after a difficult breakup. I told her about my dreams, my insecurities, my constant fear of not being enough for the world. She listened, really listened, in a way few people ever had. One evening, after closing, I found her still sitting in the reading corner, lost in thought. "You okay?" I asked. She lifted her eyes slowly, and I saw something fragile there. "You remind me of something I used to believe in," she said softly. "What's that?" "Hope." My heart reacted before my mind did. And that scared me. I began keeping distance. Small steps at first, shorter conversations, avoiding eye contact, pretending to be busy whenever she walked in. I didn't want to fall for her. I didn't want to fall into something impossible. She noticed. One day, she finally asked, "Did I do something wrong?" I shook my head. "No, not at all. It's me. I don't want to make things complicated." She gave a faint smile. "Life is already complicated. It's the beautiful parts we keep running away from." I swallowed hard. "You're older than me," I blurted, too direct, too raw, too real. She looked at me for a long moment, then gave the most understanding smile I had ever seen. "Age doesn't scare me," she said gently. "But I can see it scares you." That night, I couldn't sleep. Her words replayed over and over. Why did it matter? Why did I care so much? Why did she? 8 weeks passed with this silent tension between us, unspoken feelings floating around like invisible threads tying us close but never tightly enough to hold. Then came the night everything changed. A sudden rainstorm hit the city, flooding the streets. I stayed late at the library, sorting returns. When the thunder cracked loudly, the door swung open, and there she was. Completely drenched, shivering, but trying to laugh it off. "You walked here in this?" I exclaimed. "I didn't want to be alone tonight," she said softly, looking down. Something in her voice pulled me forward. I handed her a towel from the staff room and made her sit. Her hair dripped down her shoulders, her eyes tired yet searching, maybe for comfort, maybe for courage, maybe for me. "You shouldn't feel alone," I whispered before I realized I said it. She looked up, really looked at me, as if deciding something. Then she stood, stepped closer, and I felt her fingertips brush my sleeve. "You keep your heart so guarded," she murmured. "Why?" "Because I'm young," I said honestly. "Because you deserve someone who has more experience, more stability, more everything." She took another step, our breaths nearly touching. "Do you want to know what I see when I look at you?" she asked. I nodded, barely. "I see someone who listens deeply. Someone who feels deeply. Someone who doesn't pretend to be stronger than he is. That's rare. That's beautiful." My chest tightened painfully. No one had ever spoken to me like that. "And the age difference?" I asked, my voice barely steady. She smiled, soft and breathtaking. "You make me forget my age," she whispered. "Every time I talk to you, every time you smile, every time you care." Her words hit me like warmth after a long winter. Before I could respond, the lights flickered, the storm cutting the power. Darkness filled the room except for the dim emergency lamp glowing behind her. It cast a faint halo around her, making her look unreal, almost dreamlike. Helena, I breathed. She reached for my hand first, warm despite the rain. I'm not asking you for a promise, she said. I'm not asking you to fix me, or decide our future tonight. I'm just asking you to stop running. My heart didn't just beat, it leapt. So I didn't run for the first time. I didn't run, not. We talked until the storm softened. She told me about her fears, being judged, being misunderstood, being hurt again. I told her mine, being inexperienced, being compared, not being enough, but the more we talked, the more the gap between us vanished. We walked out together once the rain settled, both of us quiet but full of something new. Something beginning. At her car, she turned to me. Whatever this is, she said, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be honest. I nodded. I can do honest. She laughed, that soft musical laugh I had grown too fond of. Good. Because honesty is rare, and it's the one thing I want from you. Before she left, she gently brushed her thumb across my hand, just once, but it felt like a promise wrapped in silence. As her car drove away, I stood there with the rain still dripping from the trees and realized something important. She wasn't the one who made me feel young, I was the one who made myself feel unworthy. She saw me as I could be, not as I feared I was, and maybe, just maybe, that was the beginning of something beautiful, something worth the risk, something worth the difference, something worth forgetting fear for.